from Nashville, Tennessee. It's the Three. And here's your host, Laura Harris-Smith.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Harris-Smith. Welcome to The Three. I'm so glad that you are here today because you're not going to be disappointed that you tuned in. We have an author with us today that is going to change the way you think about prayer and so many other things. But she is the author of Prayers for Every Need, Linda Evans Shepherd. She is also the author of 38 books. She's the founder of the Advanced Writers and Speakers Association, creator of the Power Speaker Certification Course, founder of the Arise Esther movement and conferences. So much else we are going to get into in this episode, but welcome, Linda.
I am so glad to be here.
I love the topic of prayer. If all of everything that I do is stripped away, okay, the business, the ministry, the church, the books, all of it, get rid of all of it. I just want to sit at God's feet and know His secrets. I want to pray them in. But you said a phrase today I'd never heard, prayer investigator. Tell me what that means to you.
Well, when I was a little girl, I really loved God, and I wanted to talk to Him, but I remember telling Him one day in my little prayer, I can talk to you, Lord, but you can't talk to me. And I wish that we could do more. We could communicate better than that. Wow. I remember praying that. And so it wasn't until I became a mom. And one day, my beautiful daughter and I were coming home from the mall when the car went out of control. And my daughter, 18 months old, ended up in the middle of the freeway. And
oh my goodness.
She was in what the doctors described as a vegetative state. And I just didn't want that to be, of course. I wanted to pray. I thought maybe if I really could figure out how to talk to God better, that it could make a difference for my daughter. And so I began to read books. I began to investigate, and I began to do a lot of prayer experiments, asking God to help my daughter. And my daughter woke up, not from vegetative state, but from coma 1 year after that car crash when we put her newborn baby brother in her arms for the first time.
So you go through all of this and you get pregnant again and you deliver. Holy smokes. So then tell us what the condition was. I mean, was she totally vegetative for a year?
Yes.
She was totally unconscious.
There were times when I felt that she might be close, but other times she just seemed so far away, and we found out why. Because when my daughter did come back, she came back with a lot of disabilities. And I have to tell you, so what?
Yeah.
She came back, and she came back after spending a year with Jesus. That's what she was able to convey to us. And she had so much love and peace. What a joy she was in our home. And how blessed we were to have her. But one day I asked her, I said, Laura, I believe that when you were asleep, that you sat on Jesus' lap. And Laura could not speak. She could understand. She couldn't speak. And Laura was paralyzed. But here's what she said. She lifted her hands in praise. She lifted her hands. And goodness. She looked up and she just radiated with joy. And I knew that she had. But that wasn't the end of the story. We continued to have miracle after miracle in her life.
Yeah.
And one miracle I have to tell you
Please
about.
do.
Every day after we got her home from the hospital, I would pray over her. And I would put my little hand on her little head. And I would say, Lord, would you restore her brain? Because I had seen the MRI.
Yeah.
And I knew that over 50% of her brain was missing. It was just swirling with empty spaces inside
Linda.
of her brain. And a lot of people had quit helping us. The therapist had walked out, and nobody wanted to have anything to do with her. But every day I would pray, Lord, would you please restore her brain? 3 years later, were at the Children's Hospital, and they made me do another MRI, which I didn't want to do because I didn't want my new team to know about the severity of her brain damage, because I thought they would walk away too.
Yes.
And so this day, I sat down, and the doctor said, well, we have Laura's film on the wall. And I looked at the wall, and I looked at the doctor, and I stood up. And she said, what's wrong? I said, well, that's not
hers.
my film. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, my daughter has tremendous brain damage. Over 50% of her brain has been destroyed. And she said, well, it is your daughter's film, and what we didn't know is that your daughter's brain could regenerate. And I'm like, I sat down, and I stood up, and I
Oh,
sat
my
down,
goodness.
and I knew immediately there, I could see myself with my hand.
He was answering your prayer.
He was restoring her brain, and her brain was intact.
Wow.
And that explained a lot, because
Praise
we knew
God.
that she was in there. We knew she was understanding, but I didn't know the enormity of the miracle over her life.
So you have the baby. I know there's somebody out there. Finish that. So you have the baby, and you lay him in her arms. What happened?
Well, that was the moment. She had had her eyes closed. She had been asleep, so to speak, that entire year. And in that moment,
Goodness.
there's a picture we have. Her eyes are open, and there's this look, there's light in her eyes. And she knows that she's holding her brother. And that was the moment. And she began to become aware and more aware until she was fully awake.
My goodness. How is she today?
Today, my daughter is 100% healed.
Oh.
It didn't happen the way we wanted it to happen. But on that last day on earth,
I see.
when I was next to her bed, I'd had all of these people come to me and say, I had a dream about Laura. And I'd say, really? What was your dream? And they'd say, we dreamed, and several people, I dreamed that she sat up in bed and swung her legs over the side of the bed and stood up. And so that's really what happened. We couldn't see it, but in that moment, we were with her, and she was afraid. And I said, you don't need to be afraid, Laura, because you know Jesus. And he is coming to take you to heaven. You're going to get to see your grandpa, and you're going to be totally healed. And I said, an angel is coming. And in that very moment, she just glowed with joy. She saw.
She was how old?
She was 30.
My goodness.
She was 30. She lived.
So you got your start in prayer because you had to. It was your lifeline. You needed that miracle. Well, when we come back from the break, what I want to do is I want you to tell us how you went from that prayer need, the need of a mother, just the desperation of a mother, to writing about prayer, teaching other people about prayer. I know that's so often where it starts, but there's somebody out there today who's hurting, and they need to know how you made it through and where, that you wound up where you are today, now empowering others. So don't go anywhere, because right after the break, we're going to find out. Stay close. Hi, I'm Laura Harris-Smith, inventor of Quiet Brain Essential Oil Blend. If you would have told me 2 years ago when I was mixing that very first little bottle that we would have thousands of customers from all over the world, and that we'd have to quadruple our staff to keep up with the demand produced by our international TV infomercial, I'm not sure I would have believed you. And if you told me I'd be hearing regular testimonies of improved sleep, reduced stress, migraine relief, even help with other neurological challenges like seizures, PTSD, tremors, muscle spasms, even anxiety, well, I probably would have cried. And sometimes when I'm reading the Quiet Brain testimony, I do. But if you would have told me 1 year ago when we introduced our Quiet Brain Variety Gift Box that it would become the biggest selling item on our online store at quietbrainoil.com, I would have said, I believe it. The reason is because I created the gift box to be the perfect combination of all of our Quiet Brain products. The oil itself for topical use on the skin that contains only certified pure oils that can cross the blood-brain barrier and bring speedy relief and neurological support. And our aromatherapy line with our Quiet Brain shampoo and conditioner, candles, inhalers, all of which use the nasal passages to gain direct access to the limbic brain, which is the emotional center of the brain.
So whether you need to use Quiet Brain topically or aromatherapeutically, the Quiet Brain gift box has everything that you need. And now we've given our gift box an upgrade without increasing the price. It now comes with our satin Quiet Brain Sleep Eye Mask. Just put a few drops of oil on the nose guard and you're on your way to enjoying a good night's sleep. And it all comes packaged in a beautiful gift box and delivered to the destination of your choice or sent to you so you can use it for 7 different gifts or keep a few for yourself. When sold separately, the items in the box are $160, but you're getting it for $135. That's a $25 savings, meaning that you're getting the nasal inhaler and the shampoo and conditioner for free. The Quiet Brain gift box comes with 1 Whisper Quiet Nightlight diffuser with 16 color options and intermittent mist options, 1 dropper bottle of Quiet Brain, 1 Quiet Brain nasal inhaler, 1 Quiet Brain candle, the satin sleep eye mask, and your healing shampoo and conditioner. And remember, both are color safe, aloe enriched, paraben and sulfate free, loaded with wonderful ingredients like unscented coconut oil, olive oil, sugar beet betaine, and of course the Quiet Brain blend with its 8 essential oils like lavender, frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, and more. We get repeated testimonies of both being used with great effectiveness during headaches for pain relief. So go to quietbrainoil.com to order. Quiet Brain is a great gift for any time of the year, but especially for seasons like these that bring additional stress. Give the gift of health and peace this year. Give the gift of Quiet Brain.
Hi everybody, I'm Laura Harris-Smith. You're watching The3. We are here today with Linda Evans-Shepard, author of Prayers for Every Need. Now, you and I are fellow Baker authors because I'm in their chosen imprint and you're at Revel.
Yes.
So we're sort of cousins or something, cousin authors.
Definitely related.
I don't know what that is. But, you know, when we have a trial in our life, we loved the Lord before. We need the Lord afterwards. It changes you. What point was it that you stopped just living through it, getting through it, and started writing about it?
Well, I'm going to take you all the way back to one particular night at the hospital that was so traumatic. The healthcare professionals had surrounded me and told me that there was no hope, that my daughter could live to be 81 years old in a vegetative state. I was so devastated that that night when I was alone with my daughter in her hospital room, I had a plan. I had a plan to end it. I had a plan to pull her plug and to end my life because it's...
Oh, man.
And here was the prayer that I prayed. Here's what changed my mind. I thought about Job. I thought about how Job had lost everything and how God had restored his life. So that night, I prayed a Job-like prayer. I said, Lord, if you can do anything with this mess, I'm going to live, and my daughter is going to live. And so now that we are all living and moving on with life and enjoying so much peace and joy that radiated from my sweet, precious daughter when she came out of that nasty coma, I was just really open. And one day, I just heard in the stillness of my heart, not in my ears, I heard the Lord whisper that he wanted me to write a book. And I'm like, what? I don't know anything about that. I said, if this is really you, I need like a college degree and how to write a book. Well, the next thing I know, I'm at the Colorado Christian Writers Conference, and I'm learning about how to write a book, but I still didn't have a topic. But a year later, 1 year to the day, I was fussing because some of the kids at church with the Lord had really fallen into a deep pit. And I was so upset. I said, here we go again, Lord. I said, somebody needs to write a book that will reveal the traps that the enemy lays out for the young people. And it was like he was going, hello? I would like for you to write that book.
Wow.
And that was my first book. And that was quite a few years ago. And then I had the book, and then somebody said to me, "You have a book. Would you like to come and speak to our ginormous International Women's Conference?" I'm like, "Okay." Well, I got up there with Patsy Claremont
Oh, my
and
goodness.
all the wonderful, wonderful greats like Barbara Johnson, Liz Curtis Hicks, and then there
No
was
pressure.
me. There was me, and I didn't even know better. And I spoke, and the Lord moved. And what I learned as I began to speak to women, I began to teach them the little prayers that I had been praying. Like one of my favorites, I would teach them to pray, "God, do you see this mess? I'm giving it to you. Now it's your problem."
Yeah, it's yours.
People would laugh, but they would change.
Yeah.
They would change right in front of
very practical.
me. And I began to teach them more and more of my little crazy prayers. And one day, an editor...
Crazy prayers. Are they crazy?
They're kind of crazy.
Crazy prayers for every need. That's
There
what
you
we
go.
call it.
One day, an editor heard me speak and said, "I want you to write a book for me."
That's how it happens.
And I was like, "Oh, a prayer book? I've never thought of that." Well, never thought of it, but that's what I was
Wow.
doing. I was teaching people how to pray. And so I said yes, and that was about 14 books ago.
Well, how did you get from then speaking and writing to you're now the founder of a speakers organization? It's Speakers Association. Tell us all about it. What's it called?
It's called the Advanced Writers and Speakers Association, and we have almost 800 women members.
Oh my goodness.
And it started because, should I dare say?
Go ahead. We have an editor. Go ahead and say whatever you want to say.
Okay, well, back in the day, women were not always treated equally or fairly in Christian publishing.
Right.
And
right.
so,
or in pulpits.
Yes.
I grew up in a denomination
Yes.
where you could not be in the pulpit on a Sunday morning. You could share on Sunday night.
Right.
But in the publishing world as well.
Well, it's sort of a relatively new phenomenon for women communicators to even exist, especially in the church.
Amazing.
But here we are, and we're not going back.
No, God's not getting rid of half his army.
We have something to say and to share, and we're going to do it. And so I saw what was happening, and the Lord spoke to my heart again, and He said, "I want you to call your friends, email all your writing friends, and just ask them if they would like to be a part of an online circle." So we used to call it the Loop, and we used to call ourselves the Loopy Girls.
Oh my goodness.
And so 50 people, I wrote 50 emails that day. 50 people said yes. And so we started with 50 people. And so the Lord is so sneaky sometimes.
Jehovah Sneaky. I love calling him.
He would just give me like a new assignment every day. Just a little assignment. And I kept following the assignments until here we are. And it's been 21 years ago. And we're now 800 strong, and these women are writing the most wonderful books and speaking all over the world.
So then it's not just online. You're literally helping them to speak
we're
publicly.
no longer loopy.
Oh,
We still have an
longer
online
loopy.
meeting place too, but we meet in person, and we're getting ready to go to Lexington and be at the Christian Product Expo.
okay. Well, when we come back from the break, I want you to talk about that and about your certification
Okay.
process.
All right.
And we'll just try to corral some folks for you because you have something to say. So we need to get you certified, get you out there and proclaiming your message. I know that you have one. We got to help them find their message, right? Got to get it packaged and get it out there in a way that is relevant for the people that you influence. And that's what today's show is about. Be right back.
Neuromatics Oil is a family of therapeutic-grade patented oil blends created by nutritionist and author Laura Harris Smith. Invented for her own lifelong journey for neurological health, Quiet Brain now helps those worldwide who suffer from insomnia, migraines, anxiety, seizures, tremors, and more. Quiet Brain contains oils like frankincense, myrrh, lavender, sandalwood, and others. Next, Happy Brain is a bright mood-lifting citrus blend and contains oils like lemon, lime, clementine, spearmint, and more. Users say it combats depression and even aids in weight loss. Next is Sharp Brain, Laura's Focus Blend, also used to improve cognitive memory issues with oils like coffee, cinnamon, vanilla, clove, and others. Each $69.95 bottle is a 10-week supply if used daily, or about $1 a day. And right now, buy 2 bottles and get the third one free, and get a free eye mask using the promo code on your screen at neuromaticsoil.com or at 1-855-784-3827. That's 1-855-QUIET-BRAIN.
I'm naturopathic Dr. Laura Harris Smith, and if you'll give me 10 days, Give It to God and Go to Bed can help you stress less, sleep better, and dream more. There are even links inside to my free 10 Days to Deeper Sleep and Dreams program and 10 Goodnight videos.
Can you close your eyes and just still listen to me?
The whole book takes place in your bedroom, and with chapter titles like The Junk Under Your Bed, The Treasures in Your Bedroom, and The Monsters in Your Closet. Give It to God and Go to Bed helps you learn to rest and hear God speak in dreams. Take back your sleep and dreams, my friend, with Give It to God and Go to Bed.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura. You're watching The3. So glad that you've joined us today. And, you know, we're talking with Linda Evans-Shepard. She's an author, she's a speaker, but she has a passion for helping you do those things. And so I want you to tell us, Linda, let's say there's somebody who's watching. Maybe their story is similar to yours. They just have a child that they've prayed for. They have a message, though, of something that God brought them through. And they don't yet know that somebody else needs to hear it. Or maybe they're at the stage where they think they know, but they don't know how to get there, you know, because that's another Goliath. Tell us what your organization does, the certification process, and how they can find it.
Well, I'm excited to do that. There are so many scammers in the publishing industry. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we have become is a safe place. Mm-hmm. And we encourage and share, and we teach our gals, this is not competition. We are in it for the kingdom.
Right.
And we have to help one another. The Lord showed me a long time ago that if I would help other people, it would expand my influence for the kingdom. And I'm like, yes, I call that the dandelion principle. And so, yes, I'm going to definitely be a dandelion for you, Lord.
That's
I'm going to
awesome.
help other people. So you can go to awsa.com. AWSA, it stands for Advanced Writers and Speakers Association.
Okay.
And there you can apply for membership, and we're looking for women communicators, but we have 2 different programs. We have the program for the professional, the published author and speaker, and we have a program for people who want to learn.
What a great idea, because you feel lost and small. I remember going in and thinking, oh, this place will never call me back. I'll never. So how does that work? There's a membership, I'm assuming different. Okay, and then you apply, and then what about for the certification? What happens with that?
Well, that is a separate training, and so this is something really new that we've started. We also have a training for people who want to write books. We have a course that they can take, and we coach them and tell them, you know, how they can improve or what they did right. It's a very loving thing. It's not.
People are looking for that.
Yeah.
They want to know, where do I start? How do I get the basics? We often are our worst critics. And when we have somebody else look at us and say, I see you, and you have potential, and tweak this, and, you know, do that, stop doing that. I mean, I taught acting classes for years.
Oh, wow.
And that morphed into, I had adults then coming to me, they wanted image tips. I had country music singers coming and saying, you know, or their producer would say, he's 6'5", we got to dumb him down a little bit on the stage. Can you make him smaller? And so people who, they really need help with their stage presence. You have to say the hard things to them, but keeping in mind that you don't want to touch the message. The message that they have is unique.
And that's
what I love.
It's the message that we each have.
Yes.
Each one of us has a story with God, the story of our lives, and how when our hearts and souls touched the loving presence of the Lord, Jesus, it changed us. And maybe our lives are perfect, but we have God's love, and we can do anything through His power.
It is so true. It is so true. All right. So you have also founded the Arise Esther Movement and Conference. Now, what is that? That you do in your spare time between 2 and 2:30 a.m. What is it?
This is very new. Now, we actually started it last year. We had our first online conference.
Okay.
And that was amazing. But we decided that we were going to break down what we're doing into small evenings. So you don't have to sit in front of your computer screen for 3 whole days. You can
Okay.
just come for an evening.
Okay.
And it's called the Arise Esther Evening. You can go to ariseesterevening.com and see our next date and what we're doing. And we are getting some of our wonderful speakers involved in AWSA, and they're going to be bringing the message. We have a recording artist, Sharon Tedford. She is so anointed.
Wow.
And then we're going to be doing workshops for Christian women leaders and speakers and writers, but women who know that God is calling them, as it
Yes.
says in the story of Esther, for
Right.
such a time as this. And we're also trying to encourage the women of the church, because after this COVID ordeal that we've all been through, a lot of
Yes.
women's ministries are just reeling. So we put the price extremely low to make it affordable.
That's great.
And we're doing a twofer, so one person can come and invite their friend for free. And we just really
I
want...
love that.
It's so fun.
You know, that says a lot about you, that you want to empower others. It's not just a generation. The world is all about me, 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 me. But when you're able to reproduce yourself in others and build them up, send them out, that says a lot about you. Can you tell us what's on the horizon for you? You know, like you've got a lot going. Are you just going to manage what's happening here with the Speakers Association, or are there more books in you?
Oh, no, there are certainly more books in me. I am not done writing books. And I'm also been working on a couple of screenplays.
Ooh, okay.
One is called The Potluck Club.
Oh my goodness. Well, it was successful in writing, so.
It was really fun. And we produced it in Dallas as a stage play, and it was very successful there too. And we're just ready for the next thing.
Wow.
We're just going to keep pushing and opening. I call it jiggling doorknobs. Scott, are you behind this door?
Oh my goodness. Marilyn Hickey once told me, I was with her in her home, and she said, Laura, you're the girl that kicks down doors. And then we went out to lunch afterwards, and she said to the waiter, this is my new friend Laura, and she's the girl that kicks down doors. And I started thinking, that's going to get painful. So her daughter, Sarah, when I told her later, she said, okay, so you're going to kick down the doors that glow. The ones that, you're not going to break your leg trying to get in. The Lord is going to show you, which I think is what, Marilyn was trying to say. But I like the way you said it. You're going to jiggle the door handles.
If the door is locked,
If it's
I'm
locked,
okay
it's
with
locked.
that. It's
If it's not, it's not.
But
But-
if the Lord opens the door, we're going to walk right through it.
You know what, though? So much of life is lived in the hallway. So I want to say to you, if you are waiting for the door to open, you're jiggling, knocking, kicking, just trying to look for which door it is you're supposed to go through with your message. First of all, we just want to, Linda and I both, want to just encourage you to be confident and know that what you lived through for a reason, so that you could tell someone else about it. Would you please get in touch with the Speakers Association, ASWA?
AWSA.com.
AWSA.com. And there, it's really your one-stop shop to get started, to get your message out there. I am so thankful you're here with us today. Thank you for joining us, Linda. You got to come back sometime. Next time you'll have like 4 more books and 800 more women, and it's been a joy. Thank you for being here.
It's been
Another great
wonderful.
episode of The Three, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.